Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the Florida Sound Archive podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Kaiser. And for today's episode, I have on with me a very special guest. I'm pleased to welcome in Dino Felipe. He is an experimental music maker, visual artist. So super excited to get into his story. He is out of Miami, Florida. Dino, welcome into the podcast. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you very much for having me, Jeff.
And we're going to talk about a lot of the different things you've done over the
Okay,
years
I'm all good
because
for that.
you've been pretty active, very active as far as how much output you have out there. So, we're going to time travel and go back to the earliest beginnings of your life and kind of work our way through. So, let's think back, Dino, on the earliest beginnings. So, where did you grow up?
Here in this room, my crib was right there. Um, yeah, that's my first memory. It was being in a crib crying, because the room was all beige and I didn't like it. Like the walls and the rug and yeah, and it was empty. But
Where in
yeah,
Miami did you grow
uh,
up?
Westchester, I guess. It's like a little cube between Kendall and the rest of Miami.
So, as you were growing up in the Westchester area, thinking about some of your earliest memories of experiencing music, do you recall what that was?
Oh yeah, totally. My mom always playing music. Her record collection is insane. It's like a big wall from like jazz, old jazz, 60s jazz to Led Zeppelin to 80s. Let's get physical, physical, things like that. Everything, everything. She would always play records, so I grew up around her playing records and my grandma playing piano. Both grandmas played piano, and they would both let me play it when I was a kid. So that was yeah, my grandfather, yeah, he is a composer, was a composer. But yeah, he made a lot of albums. His name is Felipe Dulcides Badia. And yeah, he composed a lot of albums and wrote one of Lelugas' songs, which is really awesome.
Wow,
Surreal. I've never met him. I was a baby
sure.
when he passed, but yeah, he's definitely like hovering around me. It
What a
feels like.
cool legacy, though, to have and to just hear that he was a composer. Now, as
He's
far,
also a Pisces, like me, so
okay,
it's like even weirder in my brain.
yeah, as you were growing up, what was your first concert?
It's an embarrassing one, but I said, you know what? It's funny. I saw Striper. Do you know them?
I do, the
You really
80s
do.
Christian metal band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. With that dress like bumblebees.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw them.
Where was that at?
At Sunrise. Um, yeah, Sunrise something amphitheater.
Sunrise Musical Theater.
Yeah, yeah. There.
Was that the first time you ever were there for that concert?
Yeah. I was there for a bunch of. I went to. That was the first concert I was allowed to go to because my father is a Christian, and at the time, he was like, "Well, if he's going to go to concert, this will be okay." Because I was still young, and I think that was the reason, but I'm not sure because that's like I was really young. I remember they stopped and made everyone pray, or they prayed and everyone prayed. Thought that was pretty punk rock.
You had mentioned that you had seen some other concerts as well. What other
Oh, I saw
performances did
Motley
you see?
Crue, because I was an MTV baby. I was born 1978. So that's all I had. So I would just see it, and if the videos were cool, I'm like, I want to see that. And but I did get to see Tommy Lee with the drums going in circles, that little stunt. And I love Youth Fair rides, so that was to me was an amazing combo. And I love drums, so I would always wished I could be in a rotating thing. I would pretend. when I was little. I would like hold the drums with my feet, the Toys R Us drums, and lift them and pretend I was spinning.
Did you want to be a drummer at that age?
I started playing with the Toys R Us kids drums around 9. My mom would get them for me. Those like $60 plastic things. And I would beat the hell out of them because before that I was beating up on her records and pots and pans and just different objects that I put in a circle around me. Yeah, drums are my first instrument.
As you were getting older and you started to go into middle school and then high school, did your interest shift at all
Oh,
musically?
yeah, totally. When I realized there was something other than MTV. Yeah, yeah. I guess I would give thanks to the old school WVUM because they would play, have alternative hour, and I would hear things like the Boredoms, and then I was like, wait, I never. What were they hiding from me? I would actually call them and ask for the track one. I want to hear track one from that CD, and then I would record the whole album on a tape from the radio station by
Sure.
requesting it on different days or different weeks.
What was it
It
about that style of music that started to connect with you?
was funner and playful. I mean, like, not all Boredom's albums do that, but if Chocolate Synthesizer in particular is just like the ultimate, I don't know, I don't even know what to call that. It's bombastic. It's like really well done. I wish I could see it live on video, but I can't find any of it live on video on YouTube.
What about in terms of your circle that was around you, your friends and people that you were
Oh,
connecting with? Did they have any influence on you as well? And if so, what was that?
well, okay. In junior high, I met my friend Melba, and Melba, oh, we were sitting in a school, those school vans, not a school bus, whatever those are called. And she would always sit in the back with her headphones on and not talk to anyone. And I would also not talk to anyone with headphones, but sitting somewhere else. And I would always look at her like, okay, I don't know how to talk to her, but we got to talk. So eventually we talk. I'm like, what are you listening to? Because it sounded really loud. And she's like, Skinny Puppy. And I was like, can I hear it? She's like, yeah. and and then she put the headphones on my head. And I was like, this is crazy. And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that the first time you heard industrial type music?
Well, that's the first time I heard something done by a computer,
I
but it
see.
was really well done for me at that age. I was in junior high. I started a band with Melba was the first person I started a band with in junior high, and she played guitar. We didn't know how to tune it, nor tune it like standard, and I played drums, and we were like, yeah. That was the first jam I ever had was in junior high with
Did you,
someone.
did you ever play a show,
No,
talent show, something like that?
no, no.
Okay.
I opened. They asked me to play the national anthem on my Casio. I think in grade school or junior high, and it was really nerve-wracking. And no one clapped, and I got really nervous about that. And then I told my mom, nobody clapped. She's like, you don't clap after the national anthem. I'm like, oh, okay. That was weird.
Yeah.
Because I was so nervous about it. He got excited that I knew how to play it.
At what point did you start to learn about local music and some of the different venues that were a little smaller than places like Sunrise Musical Theater?
That was probably in high school, Churchills. In high school, me and Melba's sister started a band, and it was called Fucktron, and it was just me and her, and we would just jam in the room all the time, skip school, jam all day and night until we couldn't, and do that every day, and like improv, and it would become like psychic. Charles Mingus, I believe him. if not him, forgive me, said that, when you improvise with someone for X amount of time, there's definitely some psi phenomenon going on. And that's totally, really, really real, really true. You start like, it's almost like telepathic music. I mean, I'm sure many other people have spoken about that. But yeah, we would do that. And then we got a 4-track gifted to her while dropped out. And then she learned how to record it using the 4-track and taught me how to record because I couldn't understand. I'm like, how are they stuffing 4 things on one? My brain couldn't process it. 4 layers into one. And she's like, look, you do the first one and then the second one. So she taught me because she was good at figuring that part out. Then we started recording tapes
Right.
and give them to people.
What year around is this all happening?
Like 95 through 96
Okay.
and 97, maybe?
So you're what, like 16, 17, 18 years old at
Yeah.
this time?
Yeah, I had braces.
Okay. So when you first stepped foot into Churchills, what was that experience like for you?
Um, a safe haven for us to, well, okay, Rat, I don't know how or how he heard our music. They had an open mic night. I don't know if we asked about it. And we were underage. We weren't allowed to go in, but Rat Bastard um, said to Dave, the owner at the time, like, let them in, they're not going to drink and stuff like this. So we were able to play at a bar before we were supposed to, but it was a great thing because we really didn't know where we fit in the picture with our music because it sounded like rhythmic guitars with alternate tunings and we loved keeping broken cymbals and stacking them to make this trash canny sound. Um, but yeah.
Do you have any recollection of what the people that were there for that show, did they have any type of
Well, we
reaction
would go
that
every
stood out to
Thursday.
you?
We would go every Thursday, and Rat would play with the Laundry Room Squelchers every Thursday. So it became like just a bunch of bands jamming, and we all started to know each other. Other than Laundry Room Squelchers, I can't remember too many people that would play there. Sometimes there would be like 5, and sometimes there would be like 30, sometimes more because of something else. But it would be fun. Yeah, it was like our our free zone or something, like where we could go and feel normal.
Were there other bands that were playing Churchills at that time in the mid 90s that you were also checking out just as a fan?
Oh yeah, yeah. Kreamy Lectic Santa, Los Canadiens, uh, Load, all amazing bands.
And all completely different sounding bands too. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
what was
yeah.
it about KLS, Los Canadiens, and
Well,
Load?
KLS was just like, well, I couldn't relate it to anything else except Frank Zappa in my brain at the time because I was like, how is this like every song is different? It was the first band I heard like that, and it was really awesome and crazy, and live amazing. And Los Canadiens, I don't know, I'm really picky about punk rock. But her energy and the band's energy, and same with Load, it's just like a tornado just passed by, kind of like Harry Pussy.
Did you have opportunities to also connect with various members of these bands, just conversations
Um,
and that sort of thing?
with Creamy Electric Santa, yes, Ivy. I don't know. I don't know. Recall hanging out with her, or the band, Los Canadiens, or Load. No, I didn't know the guys from Load. Um, but yeah, KLS and me and Vanessa started going to their house and stuff, and hanging out around when I was 16. I had braces, so I can only think 16 or 17. Um, Going to their house, hanging out, uh, meeting the guy from what is it called? Yesterday and Today Records. It was run by this guy, Chris.
Chris Lelugas?
Yeah, him. Yeah, amazing story. That's where me and Vanessa found out about probably KLS even. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Um, but
What did you like about yesterday and today that
oh man, they would order anything that you didn't have. Um, not the Yesterday and Today right now that's on Bird. The other one, like with Chris, he would order anything. And it's funny, when we walked in to the store, we realized he asked us, "Oh, you have a band?" And we said, "Yeah." And he asked us the name, and we said, "Fucktron." And he's like, "Have you heard of Mr. Quintron?" And we were like, "No." And we looked at each other like, "Fuck," like, you know, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And and then he's like, "Have you heard of Duotron?" Who Framed Roger Rabbit again? We were like, "No." And then we changed our name after that to FKTRN because we were like, man, that sucked. But the funny thing is, Duotron happen to be sort of on our style, on our wavelength, stylistically, um, which was ironic. And Quintron was a whole. I think the first thing I heard was Flossie and the Unicorns, which is a whole other thing. It's their puppet show, and yeah, yeah. They could. He would order anything I would ask for,
yeah,
and what anybody would ask for, and he would order it from wherever. I don't know how he did that through
sure.
snail mail. Yeah.
And as far as Fucktron playing at other venues, or not even just what could be looked at as a typical venue, could be a house party or something to that effect. Did the band play anywhere else at that time besides Churchills?
Oh yeah, we played. We played parties when asked to, and we would do covers. Because we would do that as like an exercise, learning covers to learn how to play because we learned by ear and stuff. I don't know notes, and I don't think she does either, still to this day. So
What were some of the covers you enjoyed playing at that time?
I knew you were going to ask that. Um, um, okay, I'm trying to. Well, we had originals, but that was a different thing. But as far as covers, we covered Sonic Youth's Experimental Jet Set Trash and No Star. And the Pixies, probably a few albums. The Pixies taught me how to play a bar chord.
It's funny because I was checking out one of the releases that you did where it is all covers. And
Oh yeah.
it does run the gamut as far as different styles of music and different periods of time. For example, you can go from Tom Waits to The Breeders to Guided
Oh
by
yeah, the
Voices.
Breeders are amazing. Kim Deal's amazing. She has that like Astrid Gilberto, forgive me, prefer the pronunciation, but that simple tone voice, that's harder than it seems. And it's almost angelic. It's very, I don't know if you've ever heard the Amps. It's a beautiful side project. I think it's
Yes,
great.
I
Um,
have. Yes.
the Amps
So,
rule. Me and her saw them live, me and Vanessa.
oh, nice. Was that in
And we
Florida?
met her afterwards. She was so, so sweet because we couldn't handle the Foo Fighters. We just came to see the Amps. We drove to Orlando and we're like, okay, we tried to watch one song and we're like, we can't, no. And we walked out and then Kim Deal walked out and I think I was drunk and I was like, Kim, and I pointed for her to come and she just did with a beer and a cigarette in her hand, walking really fast and walked into a chain. And she's like, look at me, I'm a mess. And then she went around and we started talking about Sonic Youth. And she's like, oh, did you know they have alternate tunings? Like every song, like they have duct tape with, with the notes on the back. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, oh, there's a secret. I'm going to be in a video, but I'm not going to tell you which one, what song. And then, yeah, she was so engaging. And so it was the first, quote unquote famous person I met that I
Sure.
was like, she's so down to earth and awesome. I asked for a sip of her beer because I ran out and she gave me some and I was
Wow.
drunk. And She wasn't worried about herpes. She was down.
It's great you had a positive experience because sometimes we all know that's not always the
Yep,
case.
yep, yep. We've had the opposite, but I won't go into that.
Did you ever go to other parts of the state, maybe Tampa or Jacksonville?
In my teenage years, no. Other than that Sunrise Striper show.
Sure. Did you ever get up to Broward to see any shows or do anything up that way?
In my teens, no.
So it sounds like you did a lot of time in
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 this
the Miami.
room, for
Mhm.
sure, with four tracks. I I just had a bed so we could fit the drums over here. My room's like by 15 feet by 10. So yeah, no furniture, nothing. Took the closet doors down. Yeah, this was just our little music brewery. Yeah,
Nice. So as you're continuing to grow musically, you did this band, right? You played shows, you mentioned Churchills, you mentioned some house parties and what have you. So what came after that? Did you continue to play similar music or just did you start to experiment even more?
experiment more. Yeah, most definitely.
How
Uh,
so?
I did my first solo recording before moving to Atlanta around when I was 17. Like when I first learned how to do reverse recording, I haven't put that up. It's kind of embarrassing for me. But like wearing my heart on both sleeves or something. But um yeah, um yeah, a lot of things happened. Just like it was like an incubation period, I guess. For sure, a lot of room time. We would spend a lot of time in the room.
Yeah. So how did you decide on whether you wanted to approach something very experimental, more borderline
It was just
noise
I've always
collage
liked,
type thing, or an actual like song type style?
well, since my mom played jazz, I always liked free jazz. Like she would play Miles Davis and stuff sometimes, like some of his freeform stuff. And so it was almost innate, you know, almost it was like MTV was a trap, but I don't regret it because I like pop, and I still like the Culture Club. That was the first record I bought ever. And Dead or Alive, Youthquake was the first second record I bought ever. And I didn't even know about gender or anything like that or care. I was just like, this is good music. Like Dead or Alive, Youthquake, the programming is still up to date. It's really insane. It's a good album.
And thinking about just those styles of music, they were very synth driven
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Did
and
you
mechanical and robotic, and it intrigued
exactly?
me. Well,
Yeah.
more Dead or Alive than Culture Club.
Right.
Culture Club was like this mix of both with, he changed from the uh what was it called? The one with Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
Was that the colors by
Colored by
numbers?
Numbers?
Colors by numbers.
Yeah, that something like that. And then the other albums were very different. He changed really good every per album. And they were all yeah. He also started diving into more electronics and the first two being more like world music-ish, so to speak. Yeah, those all were things like that were the art of noise my mom had, and I would play it, and I was like, this is the first time I'm hearing like a record that's like a soundtrack. Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise is an awesome album. So I would hear that as a kid too, and Laurie Anderson. Sorry, I'm going in memory mode.
Yeah. No, you're bringing up a lot of these different bands and artists, and as you're continuing to grow and you are expanding, becoming even more experimental, were there other core influences that you were now discovering that were giving you more ideas to lean into for some different types of sound?
Yeah, yeah. Seeing that I like the freeform stuff and the more abstract stuff, it was kind of an innate knowing. I think Churchill's helped me and Vanessa realize we weren't the only ones vibe because we were in the room again, you know. And so we were like, oh yes, okay, this is there's other stuff like this. So yeah, we were already on that track. So if anything, it just gave us more drive and energy to feel like we had a place. Not that we needed that because we were doing it anyway, but it helped, you know. But when you know that there's a place for what you do,
Sure.
and I knew that.
Did you ever do any touring outside of perhaps Florida and Georgia and other parts of the country?
Oh yes.
Some
Okay, my first
memorable.
crazy tour, as far as out of still over my head, was going to Europe with Otto von Schirach, and he dragged me along on a tour, and I had no idea how to use a map or do anything, and he totally was a tour, like, you know, he managed my brain. I didn't know how to navigate through Europe, you know, much less try to talk a language I don't understand. I don't know how he did it and how he dealt with me, but yeah, that was out. It was like 2003. I was way young. I was like 22, 23 or something. And we played in Belgium. We played in Amsterdam. We played in Berlin at a festival and a festival in Amsterdam. Yeah, and I
Wow.
met a lot of amazing people that made me feel sane. As far as like, oh, there's others on a grander, like meta scale, so to speak.
Sure.
Marianne Amaker, I don't know if you've heard of her. She's awesome.
I
She
haven't.
was an awesome person. Um, Her music is out of control. Um, but yeah, I met her there, and she was
Did you
invited.
feel there was a different appreciation for that type of experimentation over in Europe than versus in the United States?
Hmm, well, I feel like, okay, the funny thing about the festival in Amsterdam is I met Venetian Snares for the first time. He's awesome. He's like a warlock, tall Nordic genius, Lionheart, um, and met other people from the States there. You know, Richard Devine I sort of knew, but we had 3 days to hang out with each other in this kind of hotel situation. I don't know what to call it. It was not a normal hotel. Uh, Motel, multi-layered motel. I have no idea, but
Okay.
it was cool. But it was like you would sit in this lobby with all these people from all over the world, and people would be in like clusters, like Europeans. So it was very weird. I felt like I was in high school again. You know, when you're going to lunch and everybody's in their sections.
Yeah.
But then the people,
Did you ever have any moments though where you were sleeping somewhere and it was not the most comfortable or just awkward space that you had to
oh, of
sleep in?
course. There's always that sometimes. Yes.
Talk about
And
that. Talk about some of those stories for a moment.
um, the worst, most uncomfortable. I don't know. I can scan through a few in my brain. Okay, at the Amsterdam Festival, um, Venetian Snares is a good person, but I guess we guess we both come from a lot of us that happen to be from the United States at that festival seem to be more punk rock, and I say that in a very general way, but it seems like that's something very American, that energy, you know. And sorry, my stomach is hungry. Um, and what happened when he played, he threw a bottle because there was nobody in the front, you know, and everybody was standing just watching him to hit the floor. I don't know. It was a reaction. He finished the bottle. The music was going, and he was just throw a bottle. I've done that. I don't do it on purpose. It just happens, you know. Um, John Mouse calls it the hysterical body. I agree with that notion because it happens. When I perform, I freak out. I forget what's going on. I black out even until I see a picture of the show because I get so nervous before.
Wow. Did you ever do something that you didn't realize you even did until someone told you you did it?
Oh yeah, in Fort Lauderdale, I rolled over some broken glass that I didn't know I broke because I thought I saw the bottle rolling. And when I finished, the bartender ran up to me, and I still have a scar, but it's not big. But my leg was covered in blood, but I was so adrenalized because I was playing with all my friends on stage, and we were there to bring our little cluster to Fort Lauderdale. But yeah, my shin was covered in blood, and he's helped me out and bandaged me up and told me I should get
Wow.
stitches. But I just did some makeshift stitches, and it
What
was
what are makeshift stitches, Dino?
just well, you have to know these things. You know, it's important. You push the skin as close as you can to each other and put a clean it obviously in antibiotic, and it's like helping it stitch. You know, like if you put a Band-Aid, if that's the only thing you have, you want to squeeze the skin really tight so it can kind of fast together or seal. So I
Wow.
just put extra tight Band-Aids,
Yeah,
but it was bleeding for a couple
that's
days.
wild, Dino.
No, yeah, no, no, yeah. Going back, I used to listen to Iggy Pop, right? And I never knew how his performances were. And then I got compared to him, so I did research, and yeah, I think he knows that thing that happens that you don't know what you're doing, and you have so much nervous energy that you're transmuting into something, and you go into this hysterical state. But it's a reaction, but I don't intend to hurt anybody. I've done that once, and I wasn't aware, but I apologized when they told me, and they weren't too mad, but I was really nervous and scared. I did not like that I hurt somebody. But the funny thing is, I was like the Tasmanian devil spinning around, and the guy was just standing there as if nothing was happening. And in my mind, I'm like, everybody's been to a show, but I guess that's not the case, or to a punk show, or I don't know, I don't know. It was
Right.
totally accidental. I don't like hurting people.
And when you're traveling, whether it be in Europe or even be in the States, you have a lot of time, whether it be in a car or another type of transportation method. Any stories that you have from some of this, the road traveling?
Oh yeah, time. Well, sometimes there's no time. When I went on tour with my friend Ricardo, he we had to it was like we realized that tour is a job. Touring is a job. Touring is a job. It felt like Tetris, pack, go to sleep, wake up, drive, pack, go to sleep, wake up, drive. Um, and we did it in his car. We didn't have, some luxurious tour van or something. Um, but, uh, but yeah, there's some that you have time, and but we've had awesome luck, like, or I don't know, people that would like let us stay over and make us on or moments off, like make us food and make everybody breakfast. In Minneapolis, those people are so awesome. The Organ House, yeah, I think those people are awesome.
Was
They
that the
make
first
us.
time you were up that way?
I went there twice with Ken Ray, this band. Um, that they also make music separately, I believe. Um, Twice I played in Michigan with Haunted House. I love that band a lot. It's a great band.
You mentioned that you played, so in terms of what you normally would bring to some of those shows, what would be your primary focus?
Um, oh, I don't know. I just sing to my songs, uh, particular songs, and have either somebody play percussion for me, and with Ken Ray, they would do mechanical rhythms, punching in the drums on the drum machines along with the song and adding their accents. Because I like people playing with me.
Is
Uh,
most of that improvised?
on their part, yeah. And on my vocal part, yeah.
So when you're doing that, did you ever have any moments where it wasn't what you may have envisioned or it didn't go in the way that you would have hoped Did that
Oh
ever
yeah, I started
happen?
vomiting once, and it was really projectile vomiting. Awful. Um,
How
I
did
didn't
that
expect.
happen? What brought that on, Dino?
I have no idea. We were in a weird state. It was a weird. I can't remember what state because it becomes a blur. Especially when it's back to back. Um, and I'm bad with maps. But um, yeah, I think I ate some. I don't eat meat usually, and I think I ate some canned beans with meat, and I hadn't eaten in a bit. And I remember beans, they mess up your, and I just started vomiting. Uh, but yeah, it was pretty gnarly, and I ran outside, and it was
Wow.
just like a exorcist vomit.
It sounds like that was one of the visuals that came to mind was the movie.
No, yeah, yeah, it was not. It was something. My stomach was very upset. Yeah, gnarly, but it happens.
Yeah. Were there other towns that you had the chance to play that may have surprised you by the vibe that was going on, or maybe even the other end of that spectrum where it was just total, it was just was not as memorable of a show.
Okay, so the negatives. Um, okay, there's a funny thing. I don't know what this place was. We played in Detroit. Oh, going back to vomit. The opening band had cardboard laid out all over the floor. There was these twin brothers with twin jackets, and they were jumping around, vomiting and singing. And I was like, "Yeah, vomit!" It was cool. Then we played, and everybody was paying. Putting their donation in the jar. And it was a boarded up building. I don't know. It was me and Ricardo was like, "Where's this place?" And all we see is boarded up buildings. So we got off the freeway and found the boarded up building where the venue was. And then when we finished packing up our gear, the venue people were like, "Poof!" They did a a magic act, and we were there like, "Well." That was my first Detroit impression. God bless everyone.
When you do tours like that and you finally come back home,
Oh, you miss the smell of your cat's urine. You miss the smell of your towel, no matter how it smells. You miss every little dust ball. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then when you're finally back and you had a chance to kind of reset,
Oh, then I get flooded with ideas because you see all these things and yeah, yeah.
and is that when you typically start to create more?
No, because I barely tour. Um, those things are happenstance. The last one I went on was 14 years ago. Um, and I prefer recording at home more than touring now, most definitely. I mean, if I had the chance to and could, and I would, but yeah, I don't get inspired by stuff from tour often. I get
Okay.
inspired by m- movies, books, accidents that just happen that make a sound, and suddenly the floodgates open. Um,
Is there any movie or movies in particular that you really feel had a huge impact on you musically?
and well, I love David Lynch's Inland Empire. I'm sure that has done some sneaky subconscious stuff in my mind. I think that movie is like timeless and you could watch it multiple times and peel another layer of the onion. Just keep peeling another layer every
I
time you
feel like
watch it.
that's most Lynch.
Huh?
I
I
feel
know,
like
but
that's
I
most
think I
David Lynch.
agree. But see, I maintain that in that one, he captured what he was trying to do in the previous three and just did it so perfectly. And the crazy thing is the way he works, if you see the footage of him making Inland Empire, he's like, I need, and he starts moving his fingers around, and he's just like, and then I need a monkey and a Euro Asian, and and he's definitely like being an antenna, and that's and I'm glad he admits that because I feel like that's how all my music is made. It's like I'm a co-writer. I'm like the thing that makes it, but there's something going through, once you get the idea. So whatever he calls it, I know that a lot of musicians have admitted to that. So it's not just me, you
Sure.
know. But in that movie, he totally captured it all. And also, this movie my friend showed me. I don't know if it was Kathy or Leslie, The Innocents. It's a 1950s horror film, suspense, pretty freaky. Um, I highly recommend it. I covered the song from it, Willow Wayley, which is like a reoccurring through the whole movie. And when you watch the movie, it just becomes like you hear it being whistled, you hear it being sung, you hear a music box playing it, so it becomes this thing, and the weeping willow becomes this thing. And I have a weeping willow in my yard, and it's a creepy song. Yeah, in context to the movies. There we go.
Because you dabble in a lot of different styles and there's a lot of creativity behind it, how would you even describe the music and different sounds that you produce and have out there?
I have a hard time describing it when somebody asks me the question. Uh, I always just, I think the only thing I could think of to say when somebody asks me that is, I don't know, it depends what you like. You have to just scroll through it all because I like everything. So I kind of try everything and continue to. So it's really hard to describe to anyone. I could say rock for an album. I could say hair rock for an album. I could say folk for an album. I could say freeform electronic, electroacoustic, or whatever for an album. I could say a film for an album because I have
S-
a track called 13.
Some of
Uh,
it does have this cinematic vibe to it. Like it could be in the background of
Thank you.
a movie of some kind.
I
I,
always try to make audio films, whether it has rhythm or not.
right.
I think sometimes without rhythm, but it can, sometimes work. It becomes more cinematic, but sometimes even with, and depending how pronounced the rhythm is and how you use it and what your quote unquote rhythm is, it can become cinematic.
Could also feel like there's a lot of atmosphere too. Do you think about that consciously as you're putting some of that together?
Not really consciously. Again, it's just like antenna mode, but also my ears aren't happy until like I feel something or see something in my head. That sounds like probably stereotypical. But yeah, I need some kind of visual thing going on or something. If not, and so I keep adding these layers. And sometimes I try to restrain that, and it's funny how that doesn't work. My brain's like, no, you're not feeling anything yet. You're not seeing anything yet. So I just try to keep adding stuff till it feels like I'm dived into film. I jumped into the actual film.
Right. I get it. And one of the projects I like a lot of the stuff you've done is with Nick Forte, the Finesse and Runway. Talk about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Felipe and Forte happened via just writing emails. We never talked on the phone, so it's really interesting that way. We never really talked on the phone. We're just like, you want to. So I was like, okay, this guy's stuff is awesome. I'm down to do this. So he would just send me a file. I would add to it. We wouldn't have all the files separate. I would send it back, snail mail, or I think snail mail, at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And then he would add to it, send it back to me, and I'd add a final layer. And that's how we worked each time. We made 3 albums. And our last album got released a few years ago um, on this label, Waxing Crescent Records.
And he was a
So,
Brooklyn guy, right?
yeah, yeah. He used
Did you
to make guitar pedals or work at a guitar pedal company. So he knows the innards of those things, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
did you ever meet in person?
Oh yeah. When I played in New York, we played a show together. My keyboard broke, so it was a really hard show to play. Thankfully, he was able to take up most of the space. But yeah, I got to meet him, and we just decided to just go. And it wasn't going to sound like the albums. We totally just had our own equipment, and yeah, it was a interesting meeting, and we had fun. It was a good time.
Was that a one-off type show, or did you all do more?
We only had one time that we were able to do that. I think our friend, if I'm not mistaken, Carlos Giffoni helped put that together. Yeah.
Did you do anything else in the Northeast as far as any other touring, whether it be New York or Pennsylvania,
Oh,
DC, anything like
yeah. A
that?
lot of Northeast shows. In the 3 tours I've gone on as far as East Coast roundabouts, we did a lot of Northeast. New York was awesome on the Kenray tour. That circles back to Sonic Youth. Um, the I get migraines, right? So I need to eat. If I get a migraine, that's my brain saying you need to eat. And if I get a migraine, I can't move my head, and you can't really perform that way. So we had a funny, those gnarly tour moments where they stopped to get some burgers, and I don't eat meat, so I was in the back like I need food. After because if not, I'm gonna get a migraine, and we were almost late, so I nobody said anything, and I was so angry for a minute, like really angry, so angry, red-faced angry that I needed food, and they weren't listening. And it was a great tour, and they probably forgot this moment, and it's not even a big deal. It was just a funny thing that happened. So my brain, while I was angry, because I didn't want to start saying something, started making up a fairy tale. So in my fairy tale, my brain, for some reason, said Thurston Moore will be there, and I laughed. And then when we get there, my friend Nancy's there. Mind you, I never met this guy. Never was trying to. So um, I get there, and my friend's like, "Oh yeah, Thurston Moore is here." And I'm like, "What? How?" And she's like, "Oh, he's curating a show, art show across the street." And so I was like, that's crazy that my brain said that while I was so angry about not being able to get a slice of pizza in my body. But it did something, and he was there, abracadabra.
Yeah, magic.
And he ended up going to the show because he walked by, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing a bunch of Sonic Youth ripoffs, Thurston." And he just looked at me really like a tall, like, huh, like, whoa, this guy is wild. Kind of that
Did
was
you,
surreal though, how your brain can do these funny things when you're hungry and angry.
when you're collaborating with others, how does that shift the way that you approach the process, if it does at all?
Well, yeah. Well, some people like my friend Robbie and I, we have collaboration. We've made like a couple albums. One is called Hysterical Air, and I like that album a lot because for that one, it was very different. We were just imagining like this kind of, it was pretty much literally a underwater dome utopian zone with like roller coasters, bars, food, all different kinds of alien beings all hanging out, and humans alike, underwater with rides. And we wanted the album to sound like that. And that was a 2-year process. And because he's more organized and likes to keep the files, and I don't work that way. So in certain cases, I have to understand different ways that people work, and not compromise, but kind of lean a little bit, so to speak,
Sure.
uh, as to be able to work. But yeah, I think it sounds just like what we imagined. So I like that album. But I really like, since I always like free jazz, I really like Fantasia that schematic released digitally. Um, because it was me using instruments. My friends lent me a bunch of instruments. I had like a harpsichord of a viola or a violin and uh, and bells and just a bunch of different actual instruments, guitars, flutes, mixed with electronics. And it was my take on some kind of free form. Like I wanted to break away from rhythm because I think I was really pooping out way too much rhythm just by nature because I'm a drummer, I'm guessing. Every time I try to go away from rhythm, it's funny how my inner drummer is like, nobody, but I can do it, but when I'm in the mood. Uh, but yeah, that one I think stands out in that way. I don't know if it got any, yeah, I think somebody wrote something good about it, but I'm not sure. I like 13 a lot. X111 in Roman numerals, the musical, it's called, I think, because it has musical moments. But yeah, that one's I played this game Half-Life 2, which destroyed my brain in a good way. My brain exploded. The sound or the non-sound, they would just have atmospheres, like dystopian atmospheres, but really on point. Yeah, when I finished that game, that album just flooded into my mind. I'm like, I want to make like a 45-minute thing that's
How do
supposed to
you
be this.
know how do you know you're satisfied with a piece of work or music that you've done?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually do a few things. If I close my eyes and listen to it and see something, then I know it's done. And if there's a section that's a little blank, then I know it's not done.
Do you ever revisit ideas from the past or once you're
Oh
done?
yeah. No, um, it seems to happen. It's like seems like everything goes in a circle kind of, and then you start looping back to some other concept from 10 years ago and upholstering it from a different standpoint with different ideologies, with different emotions. So yeah, like I definitely always go back to tapes, tape moments in the present and using tapes with digital music, using radios for music, like scrambling through the radio stations and making
Right.
loops. And
Does it matter the era in which the radio was produced?
I just do with the one I have actually, but I do have a cool radio that I should use more. I have this little one with battery powers, and you could just scratch it with your finger like a DJ. And then all these different songs are playing from different stations, and you're just skipping through a random sequence that'll never probably repeat again. And you get little weird alien communications sometimes, like a perfect loop. Like and you're like, that was 20 stations. How could that happen? Um, I love radios for that reason. Yeah, and static too. Static. Um, supposedly it's like, is it not like supposedly like when we hear static or CTV static residual Big Bang quote unquote sound? Um, it's a funny thing.
There's another track that I'm a fan of that I like that I wanted to share to get your thoughts on it. I think there was also a video you did too for Boxy Lady.
Oh yeah, the videos was really fast, quickly made.
Talk
Yeah.
about talk about that side too, because it's not the first video that you produced.
Oh yeah, I love recording videos. I think the first video we ever made was for Fucktron in Atlanta, and we did that with a handheld VHS camera. You know, pausing, unpausing, pausing, unpausing, and it's somewhere on YouTube. I'm glad it's somewhere. It's funny, but yeah, I love handheld cameras. I like tape cameras, but I can't afford all that. So I have a cheap digital camera that I use a lot for a lot of videos. And I learned how to edit that using a cheap, the one that comes with your computer editor. Basically, really simple effects. I can't do super effects or any of that. And I sort of like that restriction in a weird way. You know, uh, it's like a diary, kind of honest, even though it's digital pixels. But yeah, it's like a Jimi Hendrix joke title. But also a funny visual, like some kind of Lego person. Not Minecraft. Let's forget about Minecraft, Dino. I don't play that game. But yeah, I like pop a lot, most definitely. And I think in that album, I was trying to see how pop and I could be because when I try to make pop, sometimes it's the opposite. It becomes like I'll be like, check out my house song, and then somebody starts laughing because it'll just be the boom, 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 but everything else is kind of chaotic or something or whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, I did it. I made a house song. Look, I tried. But but yeah, that album, I tried to make a pop album and try to hold the reins as far as stacking and making atmospheres, like you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
Um, but I think I did a good job
I agree.
by a little bit at that. A little bit, yeah.
There's another release that also stands out to me because I'm thinking about your range as far as the different types of sound that one could get from checking out your vast catalog. And there is a record you put out called the No Fun Demo, which is very lo-fi. There's some folk in there as well, but maybe not what you would typically think of when you think of folk music. It's a different style of folk, I feel like, but
Yeah, I was going through a folk period right before that album too. I made this album called Sort of Blue, and it was my first departure from computers in like 2001. I was heartbroken, and I decided to make an album in a day. Not the No Fun Demo, but the Sort of Blue one. But that sort of bled into the same time period of No Fun Demo.
are these songs you also got to play out live, or were these just studio tracks?
For the most part, I would just record a drum and then I would record the bass. I would improvise most of the songs on that album as far as the layer. I would be like, here we go. This is a one take situation. But I would keep in mind that I had to go back to the verse and the chorus because I was trying to make, I was looping back to everything I grew up on, that's what you hear there. Um, I was getting that out of my system. Um, but yeah, it was like a improv style in that I wouldn't do too many double takes unless I liked what I did, except one note was really foul and I would try it again, but I would never like write it down. I don't know how to write music or any of that, Urban. So I would just start and press record and go, then add the guitar. And that kind of made it kind of interesting, I guess. And whatever happened, happened. Like a Jack in the Box kind of popping out at the end.
Another thing I noticed too with that release, it was one of the few that had a cover art that was in black and white. Most of your covers are very colorful. There's a lot going on. So how do you approach that visually? And that's a whole nother layer of uh, your music and your visuals.
Um, I think I was missing the photocopy days of making flyers and stuff. So I try to do a Photoshop version of like the photocopy effect and also adding shadows that don't exist in the photocopy days, like a hybrid of past and the present or something. But yeah, the black and white days of like getting black and white flyers, Xerox flyers were really awesome and making zines and things like that. So yeah, I think I was just missing that as far as the cover, and I realized I hadn't done that yet, so I did it.
Yeah. That's a good segue. You mentioned zines and just thinking about publications, especially ones that were homegrown in Florida. Do any stand out to you that you would make a conscious effort to check out?
I really don't know about zines now. Oh, most definitely. Because I know there's a comeback of them. So it's funny. In my mind, I'm speaking 90s, like 96, 95, 97. But back then, there was zines at Y&T, but and then me and Vanessa were like, we could do one. So we did one. We did music reviews, we did art, album reviews. And it was fun.
Did it have a name?
Huh?
Did it
I
have a name?
forgot. I wonder if she still has a copy. There was only like two that we kept. I
Okay.
don't have one, so she might. But it was a funny thing, and we did a good job, I think, because we love photocopy machines. We had one in Atlanta. Somehow we ended up with one in our house that was working. So we went ape making all our flyers those days. We had a lot of fun with that Xerox machine.
I bet.
It's so huge, maybe not now, but it was the size of the table this thing's on, and it was in the middle of our living room, just like, yeah, you're fine. It's
Right.
okay.
Did you collect a lot of those things too and hold on to them from over the years, the types of flyers and different things that were going on in the scene in the 90s?
Yeah, yeah. I have a folder in my drawer over there of all the 90s flyers that me and Vanessa would make here for shows at Churchills. Um, and different shows, yeah, with different bands. I haven't scanned them. Good call. Now I know I should.
Got to archive them in other ways to
Yeah, yeah, I forgot that
so.
they're down there until you asked that question. Thank you.
And because you were so connected to Churchills, and they had lots of different things going on, whether it was a punk show, more experimental,
Jazz nights.
jazz, hardcore, whatever it was, all these different styles of music, there were these different shows that were happening, and you may or may not have been aware of all of them. For the times that you experienced Churchills, think of something, if you can, Dino, that perhaps someone may not know about Churchills that you do.
Well, the main thing, I guess, better said, is that when you walk in, it's like you can feel the energy of the place. It's a really interesting, free energy. Like it's like the walls sucked up all the shows, you know? You know how some people say the walls suck up energy of like, if you're angry in a room all day, you're gonna it feels like that. I've never felt like at every other venue I go to feels you feel the AC, but you don't feel the walls. That's the only way I can describe it. But you feel this freedom and you feel this like theme park is open vibe. I don't know. It's really interesting and strange.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the way my brain connects to it because of how it was like a free space. I don't know. I don't think it's that. It's very powerful.
What was your initial reaction when you used the bathrooms for the first time?
Aha. If you're hinting at the bathroom jokes about the place, I could tell you a funny bathroom story. I was trying to poop without sitting on the toilet, and then I'm glad I noticed that something was off as far as things weren't aligned on the wall, and the toilet was broken and falling over and about to spill over all over the floor and crack, and I would have been to blame for breaking the toilet. And I got up right before that happened and just set it back to place for somebody else. I don't know. I couldn't be the one.
Did you ever tell anybody about that?
Yeah, I think everybody I knew there, it was almost, yeah, the toilet was going like this, about to crack off the floor, and a pipe would have burst, and it would have been a big, like, look what he did. And oh my God. But besides that, oh man. Well, if you're going to go to Churchill's, tie your shoes really hard, keep your laces in your shoes, and make sure you have like, platforms or something, because you might have an inch of piss.
What do you think of the return of Churchill's?
Of the what?
What are your
Oh, I don't know.
what's your
I'm
opinion?
scared. I'm scared about the owners. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they got new security guards or what's going on. I don't know how free you are to smoke weed. I don't know. Um, it was closed for too long. I just had this weird suspicion. Maybe I'm totally wrong and a new owner, so maybe I'm totally wrong, but I don't know. It's so easy to just paint over a place and make it so different, especially in Miami and maybe a lot of big cities. I don't know. They do that a lot here.
Yeah.
So,
And just thinking about that too, Dino, the fact that so much has changed and you've been through a lot of that in Miami over the course of the last 20 plus years in terms of places that there's music. How has that evolved over the years through your eyes?
hmm. Well, in like early 2000s, around 2003, 2005, there was a lot of cool places like PS14 and Spider Pussy that was more kind of like supporting local acts. They would support me a lot as far as let me play or ask me to play because I'm not good. I'm not a good, I don't have managers. I'm not a good self manager. I don't know how to call places and be like, hey, can you book me? That's not, I don't do that. I don't know how. My brain doesn't even function in that department. But so luckily, that's my point. They would ask me to play a lot and stuff like that. And but I guess through time and through I guess the more population, what I've noticed, it's like 15 years later, right? So all these places get refurbished. All those places have gotten refurbished and are no longer. So it's just I call it the South Beach fires. Nothing against South Beach, but it feels to be bleeding over into the mainland. As far as like if you go to the East Coast before going to the beach, it feels like the beach, and they're refurbishing it like the beach, as far as high cost.
Do you feel like there's more or there have been more experimental types of artists that have come out of Miami since the early mid 90s?
Oh, yeah, most definitely since the early mid 90s out of Miami, most definitely because of Rat Bastard having the INC here, you know, that let a lot of people feel, I guess, that free thing, free vibe. Oh, I have a place here too, or I can do this, or even start making quote unquote noise just to be part of it. Whatever the case, it opened up a lot of floodgates, ideologically and musically, and yeah, opportunistically, I guess.
Right. And because Rat Bastard, he's come up a multitude of times on the podcast.
Yeah,
You have any good Rat Bastard stories you can share?
there's a lot. Oh my gosh. But when I was a teenager, yeah, and with the braces and all that, and going to Churchills, one day I clumsily ran behind the bar and started trying to drink out of the bar tap. And the owner was sitting there and saw me, and he kicked me out, so I couldn't play, and he banned me. And I was very sad because my safe zone was gone. And then Rat Bastard said he will never do that again, and convinced him and let me go back. So yeah, thank you, Rat. That was a really close call, and it was very scary.
Were you there to witness that moment where you
No,
had a
no,
chance to hear
no.
what he said?
No, no, thank God. I wouldn't want to hear the whole thing. No, it was just one of those sloppy moments as a kid.
We'll go with that. Anyone else in the scene that really stands out to you as just an important part of your story that you may not have mentioned and you'd like to share a bit more of?
Huh. Well, my friend Ricardo used to have a Death to the Sun festival here in Miami, and he would ask me to play it often, and that was supportive. It was a cool festival. It was kind of like not INC, but just bands that were different, new bands that were unheard, and things like that. And it was a really good all-day festival then that he did for a while. Maybe still doing it. I'm not sure. But also, but yeah, like when I used to play at Churchill's a lot, in the mid 2000 to late 2000s, as in 2006 through 2010. Um, since I get like a really bad stage fright, I would always ask a bunch of friends to like randomly, I'll just run around in a panic. Hey, can you play drums? Can you shake a tambourine? Can you just stand there? So they really helped me perform a lot, and it became like a party all the time. So that was a really interesting thing, and a live bond, and it became a known, unspoken thing. Like, hey, you're going to be on the stage. We're going to have fun, no matter what. I'm panicking. No, so we got this. Like a teamwork effort, and yeah, that was a really important kind of on stage support by actual friends, not like and there's some cases I would ask random people, like, can you shake a tambourine? Can you keep, okay, please? Thank you. Because it would help me calm down a bit. Um, I don't like being on stage all alone. That's really weird. It's so, wow. Yeah, yeah. Stage fright is crazy. Some people think it goes away or something, and it's like, no, I think it comes from something, I don't know. Maybe it's a keep yourself in checks, going back to that self-defense mechanism. If you're not nervous, that means you think everything's awesome and that you're the best. If I don't get it, I don't get people who are calm. And I'm not saying it's bad to believe in yourself, um, but you want to push up the yeah, okay. You want to go beyond okay. I don't know.
No, I think you bring up a good point. And for those that may experience something very similar,
Yeah,
what types of tips or ideas would you give from your
what
own
I
personal
do,
experiences on how you work through it?
I have to be see, and this is a funny thing. This is a topic in itself because then people take it personally. But if there's other bands playing, I want to be as far away as I can from the crowd and like really far away somewhere in the back in the dark, like to calm down. If I'm watching the people on the stage, my anxiety is going to go up, 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 and my stage fright is going to go up, up, up. And some bands take that personally, and I understand. But yeah, I guess bands should understand that for other bands that have anxiety. If they're in the back, maybe they're nervous. um, don't take it personally. But yeah, I would recommend being away from the space. Um, that helps me personally. Because if you have stage fright, seeing the crowd in your face and seeing the bands play, it's just going to be like, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. I'm going to be there in 5 minutes. I'm going to be there in 2 minutes. um,
Are there any places that are existing in the current time that you feel more comfortable going to, whether it's checking out a show, a performance, or perhaps even doing something yourself?
mm, no. Um, I haven't. Last time I went to a couple of venues that I've been to, going back to the South Beach fires, it was really prominent. Yeah, and going back to Recluse, pretty much, yeah, this like I'm a homebody. So I don't know much about what's going on now, but I haven't really found a place other than this art gallery that slash publishing company that's releasing the album. Um, I like going there. They have interesting stuff, new artists, and it's kind of really small and cozy. Yeah.
There's a place that we hasn't come up yet that I wanted to talk about because we were mentioning this a little bit before we started to record. There was a space in which you play that looked like it came out of a horror movie, the Pearl Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about playing there. What was that like? And
Are you thinking Texas Chainsaw?
I'm thinking something where there's bad stuff that happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That guy's house, the guy's house, is MC Tracheotomy. He's a really far out, uh, tripped out rapper. I don't know if he's making music at the moment, hopefully, but yeah, he would host shows at his house once in a while. and he had me stay there. Supposedly the attic was haunted or something like that. But on top of that, like his decor choice was really interesting. I don't know where he found these things again. Like he had these mechanical animals, but they were like half wooden, like 1950s looking mechanical, is what I mean. Like not Disney World tech. It was just, I don't know. They looked like he found them. And it's like a giraffe, I think an
Almost
ostrich.
like an amusement park style.
Well, the main room where he had this bar set up, and it would be like a house all the time, and then suddenly, poof, he turns it into like he gets busy. He puts up the disco ball. Suddenly, the bar has all the alcohol. I don't know how he does it, like within a minutes. But yeah, he's a fast worker, hard worker. But yeah, yeah, it's a really interesting decor. All the wallpapers ripping off and peeling off, and lots of wooden things, and yeah, that was a really interesting house.
Did you
Yeah.
ever have any paranormal experiences in the house?
Well, outside in the front, I had this protection pendant that I like to have on tour. And it felt like out of all places, I was standing right on top of the sewer. I don't want to say it's supernatural, but I just found it really funny because it could have broken all these other days. It didn't break on that day. It broke on that day, and then or those days. It was 2 days, yeah, or three. But it fell right into the sewer, and I couldn't get it back, of course. So I was like, okay, that's a bad joke by something that doesn't want me to have this on. But and then also I went inside. I was inside just sitting, and then he had this 12 string guitar sitting on this or set up on this thing above it. And I was just sitting, I wasn't like dancing or anything, and it just like fell and almost cut in between my thumb, that skin between your thumb, that web, and your pointer finger. And the string like tried to slice me. So that was my first moment of saying, okay, there's something moving things or something. But besides that, the attic, I think, was the gateway. So I didn't stay up there. I would have to ask the person that stayed up there. But
Yeah.
there was a couple of weird things, yeah.
Wow. What an interesting place to play.
Oh, Quintron's house. Okay, you walk in his house. There's a bar made out of a boat with like octopi and formaldehyde and stuff and different sea creatures at the in the bar. And the bar's already a boat. And then you turn around and there's like, like in the Titanic, those circular cruise ship windows with the water, those metal frame,
Yes,
and
I
there's
do.
fish. And then there's fish swimming. And I was like freaking out. And I was like, how did you do this? How did you do this? And he's like, oh, come here. It's really easy. And he went outside and he had a bunch of fish tanks glued to the outside of the house to make that illusion. But I felt like I was underwater. It was a really crazy optical illusion. His house is definitely like Willy Wonka. Um, him, yeah, those houses both are in New Orleans in the Ninth Ward area. MC Tracheotomies and Quintron. And they're both like different, but both fantastical. Quintron's is like Willy Wonka, some weird, I don't know how yeah, he's a genius.
When you weren't creating something in your room and perhaps even playing shows outside of it, just on any kind of downtime you would have, did you ever do any kind of exploration of different parts of Miami, just the greater Miami-Dade area? Did you ever go out and do any kind of exploration? Anything ever pique your interest looking for other inspiration
Oh,
of
I like
different
the
music,
Everglades a
anything?
lot. I mean, these are things I don't do on a monthly or anything. But the Everglades is really awesome. The national park, you know, it's like you could see how islands are formed, and I don't know, it's kind of really it leaves me in awe.
Does that
And
inspire you musically?
oh, we used to always on the schematic guys and I used to always, or they would always say like, this, yeah, man, we're the freaks. We make swamp music. Yeah, I think it has an effect on everybody here. I think it's a big force to reckon with. Um, the Everglades. It's an energy for sure. Uh, yeah, it's like swamp rock and swamp pop. No, everything is swampy here
Yes.
in a good way. Not the swamp part alone, the
Right.
whole. The
Exactly. So,
islands form here.
yeah, they do. So, uh, it's been great getting a chance to chat and to explore these different parts of your musical journey because it really does stretch, Dino, from going back to your very earliest beginnings, whether it be exploring different styles of music, like your first concert. You mentioned going to see Striper at the Sunrise Musical Theater, which if you would have asked me to guess your first concert, that would not have been it.
Mine either, but maybe now.
Maybe now. And just thinking about all the stuff that you've done over the past, what are we looking at now? 3 decades. So we're talking 3 decades of time, and that's a lot, as I'm sure you know. So,
It's a lot to try to scroll through the Rolodex a little bit, but
right, exactly, it is. So, but it's just been great getting a chance to do that today with you. So I
thank you.
thank you for the time that you've spent. So as we get ready to close things out, I would like to give you the last word. Any final thoughts you'd like to share to the folks out there checking out this episode? The floor
Whoa,
is
final
yours
words.
to take us home.
Well, first, thank you for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it. And I guess if anyone listens to my music, that's pretty awesome, and it goes over my head. And thank you. And I'm glad it does something, whatever it is. Um, yeah, it's crazy to me. Period. And I guess thank you to all my friends who've been with me through the thicker and the thinnest and all that, because those are the real friends that we have. And yeah, keep those friends close to you.